Hey guys, so I recently picked up the new Anastasia Beverly Hills Luminous Foundation in shade 140N, and I also picked up the setting powder in vanilla. And the foundation seems to be a good shade match for me at the moment. I usually do a damp beauty sponge. I'm also going to do one side of my face with my Sigma Kabuki brush, and just to see which side I prefer better. A few of the things that I like about the foundation: it says it's vegan and cruelty free. It says it's suitable for sensitive skin, long wearing, and no flashback. So I'm just going to go ahead and try it on. First, I pump on the back of my hand, just one full pump. And I usually don't use primers. I usually just use my Tatcha Dewy cream. But I'm just going to dot this on. It does seem to be a good shade match. On this side, I'm just going to use the brush. My skin type is combination, so I'm oily in my T-zone, but I tend to be a little bit drier on the other parts of my face, like on my cheeks and on my chin a little sometimes. I do have larger pores on my cheeks right here, and the setting powder is supposed to have a blurring effect, so I can't wait to test that out and see how it does. This is a luminous foundation, but it is supposed to be like a natural finish, which it does look very natural. You can still see my freckles, but it has evened out my skin tone, since I do have some redness, like on my forehead right here and on my cheeks, sometimes on my chin and my nose. And I still have some on the back of my hand, so I'm going to dot that on the other half of my face. I'm going to take another like half a pump and add that just around my nose, in between my eyes, my chin. And I still have some left over, but I'm just gonna use my Flower beauty sponge and see how the coverage is with the sponge versus the brush side. So far, I'm preferring the sponge. It doesn't give as much coverage, but it does leave it a little bit dewier, which I prefer. I'm gonna add a little bit more to my nose. Sometimes foundations seem to have an issue with not wanting to stick to my nose in certain areas, but so far this is looking pretty good. No issues. I am going to do a wear test with this just to see how it holds up, because it does say it is a long-lasting foundation. And I live in hot-ass, humid Louisiana and haven't been hardly wearing any makeup because it decides to melt off. So we are going to test that out today with this foundation. I do have fine lines and a few little wrinkles, my little forehead wrinkles. Gotta make sure the foundation doesn't settle and these little forehead wrinkles of mine. So I'm just gonna zoom you in so you can see how it looks on the skin. As you can see, very natural looking. You can still see my freckles right through here. But as you can see, I just got foundation on, no highlighter. And you can just see how the foundation gives a glow to the skin without being too dewy. So if you like a natural, luminous look to your skin, this foundation, you'll probably like it. I heard this foundation was supposed to be better suited for drier skin. So if you have oily skin, you can go check out my friend Cate at Brew_Boo. She did a awesome review for oily skin. So if oil is your issue, go check out her video. I'll link her stuff in the description. It's Brew_Boo. I'm going to use the First Aid Hello Fab Bendy Avocado Concealer in shade 2. Just to conceal, just a tiny little bit underneath my eyes. I don't want to do too much to take away from the actual foundation. I'm just going to blend this out. My little baby sponge. The setting powder I got is in shade Vanilla, and it's supposed to be blurring. Now I'm going to move on and powder underneath my eyes. I do have fine lines underneath my eyes, so I don't tend to bake because it looks really dry and crusty when I do. Makes me look like 100 years old. So I tend to use just a little brush just to pack a little amount of powder underneath my eyes. And so far, it's looking pretty good actually. Looking pretty good. It definitely does have a little bit of a blurring effect. I mean, you can still see my fine lines, but it doesn't like accentuate them. I'm just gonna set top of my eye too. I'm going to add a little bit of this Anastasia setting powder to the rest of my face, just to see how blurring it is. Oh yeah, you can definitely tell it's blurring. I don't know if the camera will pick that up or not, but I'm going to show you this half of my face with the powder, and then the other half I'm just gonna not use the powder. And show you, I'm gonna just show you the difference between the side that's powdered and the side that's not powdered. So I'm gonna zoom you in. I don't know if you can tell. My pores right here are usually pretty loud and proud. But you can see my pores a little bit more over here, the side that is not powdered. And then over here, you can't really tell that much. I mean, they're there, of course, it's skin. But it's definitely more blurred. That's always a plus, to have a little bit of blurring. Now I'm going to go ahead and powder the other side. I don't have the Anastasia bronzer. If I did, I would just do like a full face with them. But since I haven't got that yet, I'm just going to do some bronzer, a little bit of blush, a little bit of mascara, and I'll be right back. And I'm back. I put a little bit of bronzer on. I used the Fenty In the Sun bronzer. I added a touch of blush. I've been using Honey Thief blush by Melt Cosmetics. I had some mascara, did my brows. I used Benefit for my brows. I didn't add any highlighter. I wanted to show you how the foundation looked after all these powders on top. So I'm going to zoom you in. So now that you're zoomed in, you can definitely tell there's a luminosity to the foundation. It's not as dewy as I prefer, but I think once I use the dewy set, it will probably be more of the finish I'm going for. So now I'm just going to use my dewy set by Anastasia Beverly Hills, and we're going to see how it helps the foundation look afterwards. This just helps to make the powders set in and everything just kind of meshes together a little bit better. You can also take your damp beauty sponge and just go over and set that in a little bit better. I prefer to do this. This foundation isn't wet dewy, it just shows through your natural skin and makes it look like you're not really necessarily wearing a foundation. I mean, you can tell there's a foundation there, but even with just a little bit that I added, you can still see my freckles and my natural skin is showing through, which I really like. It is 12:15. I'll check back in like a couple hours, show you how the foundation is setting. I'm gonna be cleaning the house, picking up kids from school in a few hours. So it's gonna be a sweaty day. And I'll check back in a little bit. This is my first check-in. It is 2:51 in the afternoon. I ran to get Panda. I ate Panda. And now we're gonna see how this has lasted so far. This foundation looks like it's gotten slightly better looking over these past few hours. You can tell it seems to have that slight glow a little bit more. I'm gonna zoom you in. The foundation only slightly wore off where I had my glasses while I was driving. Since I just ate Panda, I want to check around my mouth. My lipstick wore off, but foundation's still hanging in there. So after almost 3 hours of wear, the foundation's holding it really good, which is to be expected. Usually at like the 7, 8 mark is where I tend to take off my foundation. So we'll see how that looks later on tonight. I'll do another check-in and give my final thoughts. This is my last check-in. It is 7:34. It's been on a little over 7 hours. So let's take a closer look. I'm going to zoom you in. So you can see it is very luminous, but it hasn't really like transferred. Even around my mouth where I've ate, usually my foundation rubs off a lot, or I have like hardly any foundation left by the end of the day right here. It's still holding up pretty well right here. It's lasted really well in this humid weather. I even fed my chickens. How many people can say that they have fed their chickens while wearing Anastasia Beverly Hills Luminous Foundation? How many people can say they've done that? Norvina? How many people do you have on PR that feed their chickens and wear your foundation? I think that's an accomplishment. So the foundation is 1 fluid ounce at $38. And it comes in 50 shades. I would definitely recommend this foundation. I really like it. It works for my combo / dry skin. But I really recommend, if you're going to get the foundation, to get the setting powder as well. I feel like they worked really well together. It helped blur out, but it also, the powder didn't dry me out worse than my other powders do, which I really appreciate, because some setting powders make my skin look even drier, especially under my eyes. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this review and wear test. See you in my next video. Bye.